Most men think attraction starts with looks or money. But that's a lie the insecure cling to. Real attraction is subtle. It's quiet. It's the unspoken language of energy, presence, and control. And women, whether they realize it or not, are always watching for these signals. You see, a woman doesn't fall for a man just because he looks good. She falls because she feels safe, intrigued, and seen. And that feeling starts the moment she senses certain cues that many men don't even know they're giving off. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm revealing the 7 subtle signals women notice instantly, signals that make her heart race. Even if you never say a word, women are drawn to nonverbal confidence in ways that often bypass logic and dive straight into instinct. It's not about what a man says, but about what he silently communicates through his presence. Confidence without a word spoken. A man can walk into a room and instantly shift the atmosphere without opening his mouth. Because his body, his energy, and his stillness already speak volumes. You see, women are naturally intuitive. They are wired to pick up on the microsignals most men are completely unaware they're giving off. A man's posture, his eye contact, the pace of his movements, even the way he breathes, it all paints a picture of who he is inside. And confidence, real confidence, can't be faked. You can't wear it like a new suit. It has to live in your bones. A confident man moves deliberately, not frantically. He doesn't rush, because he's not trying to prove anything. He takes up space, not in arrogance, but in a calm, grounded way that says, I belong here. He walks tall, not stiff, but relaxed, like a man who is comfortable in his own skin. His shoulders are back, his head is up, and there's a calm stillness in the way he carries himself. That stillness is powerful. It tells her he's not chasing approval. He's not trying to impress. He's centered. Present. Sure of himself. This nonverbal confidence creates a sense of security that women deeply respond to. When a man is truly confident, it makes her feel safe, emotionally and even physically. Not because he's the loudest in the room, but because he's anchored. He's not swayed by external chaos. His mood doesn't swing with the opinions of others. His presence is predictable, not in a boring way, but in a dependable one. She knows what to expect: strength, steadiness, and certainty. Women notice how a man reacts under pressure. They're watching when he's challenged, interrupted, or ignored. The confident man doesn't overreact. He doesn't puff up or shrink down. He simply stays in his lane. He responds with calm composure, not emotional outbursts. That level of self-regulation is a rare signal, and it screams high value. It tells her he's in control, not just of the moment, but of himself. Even in moments of silence, confidence shines. Most men get nervous when things go quiet. They fidget, talk too much, or crack jokes to fill the void. But the confident man welcomes silence. He holds it like a space of power. When he makes eye contact, it's not to dominate, but to connect. He doesn't look away quickly. His gaze is steady, calm, and intentional. That's the kind of eye contact that can pull a woman in without a single word. In the end, what women truly respond to is the man who has mastered his inner world. Nonverbal confidence is the outer echo of deep inner strength. It's the man who doesn't chase approval, doesn't flinch under pressure, and doesn't need to be loud to be felt. His presence speaks for itself, and that's exactly what draws her in. How you respond to rejection reveals your emotional maturity more clearly than almost anything else. In moments of rejection, when your ego takes a hit, when your expectations are not met, when you feel overlooked or dismissed, your true character rises to the surface. And this is where most men fail, not because they're not good enough, but because they haven't yet learned how to control their emotional response. The way you handle rejection tells the world, and more importantly yourself, who you really are when things don't go your way. A man who hasn't developed emotional maturity sees rejection as a personal attack. He reacts impulsively, lashes out, shuts down, or tries to manipulate the situation to regain control. He sees a no as a threat to his worth, as if being rejected by one woman, one opportunity, or one outcome defines his value. But emotional maturity sees through that illusion. A mature man doesn't let his self-worth rise and fall based on someone else's opinion. He understands that rejection isn't always about him, it's often about timing, compatibility, or other variables completely outside his control. Women notice this distinction immediately. When they say no, they're not just testing your resilience. They're observing your emotional baseline. Do you stay calm, composed, and respectful? Or do you become defensive, bitter, or needy? If you can respond to rejection with grace, without trying to guilt her, chase her, or degrade her, you instantly separate yourself from the masses. That calm detachment signals strength. It tells her, and the world, that you are internally anchored, not emotionally chaotic. Rejection is a mirror. It reflects whether you've tied your identity to validation or whether you're standing on your own 2 feet. A man who is emotionally mature doesn't crumble when a woman isn't interested. He doesn't beg for another chance, and he doesn't turn cold or cruel. He simply accepts the outcome, learns what he can, and moves forward without resentment. This kind of response demonstrates self-respect. It shows that you value your peace more than your pride. It also reveals a critical quality, emotional independence. A man who can handle rejection without drama is a man who doesn't need external affirmation to feel secure. He's already done the internal work. He knows who he is, what he brings to the table, and what he deserves, not from a place of entitlement, but from self-awareness. And because he's emotionally independent, he can allow others to be free. Free to choose. Free to say yes or no without fear of retaliation. That freedom is incredibly attractive to a woman, because it creates safety and trust. In truth, rejection is one of the most powerful teachers in a man's life. And every time you respond to it with calm, with presence, and with dignity, you become stronger. You become the kind of man who doesn't just chase success, you embody it. Not because you always win, but because you've mastered how to lose without losing yourself. True attraction is built on integrity and awareness, not tricks or tactics. The difference is profound, and the impact it makes on your relationships, and your life, is undeniable. When a man leads with tactics, he's trying to manipulate an outcome. He's playing a role, wearing a mask, or following a script he believes will earn him a woman's affection. He's focused on appearances, on saying the right thing at the right time, or crafting a persona he thinks will be irresistible. But underneath all that effort is fear, fear of not being enough, fear of rejection, fear of being seen for who he truly is. Women feel that fear, even if they don't consciously understand it. They can sense when a man is performing rather than being. And what happens when you're constantly performing? You create disconnection. You might get attention, but it's shallow. You might get attraction, but it's fleeting. And eventually, the mask slips. Because tactics can never sustain real connection. They require constant maintenance. They leave you exhausted, constantly guessing, always chasing a reaction rather than standing in your truth. But when a man lives with integrity and awareness, he doesn't need tricks. He is the attraction. Integrity means alignment, your words, your actions, and your intentions are consistent. You say what you mean. You do what you say. You treat people with the same level of respect whether they benefit you or not. You lead yourself before you try to lead anyone else. And because of this inner alignment, you don't need validation to feel valuable. That stability is incredibly magnetic. Awareness deepens this. It's the ability to see beyond yourself, to read the moment, to understand her emotions without needing them to change for your comfort. It means you're not lost in your own ego. You're present. You listen with your eyes, not just your ears. You respond rather than react. A man with awareness doesn't try to control a woman's perception, he's too focused on being grounded in reality. That presence is rare. And that's what builds trust. When you lead with integrity and awareness, attraction becomes effortless because you're not trying to get anything, you're simply offering who you are. And that's powerful. Because the right woman doesn't want a trick, she wants truth. She wants to feel safe in your presence. She wants to know she can trust your consistency, that you mean what you say and live what you preach. She wants to know that if she opens up to you, you're not going to exploit that vulnerability for control. The kind of attraction built on integrity and awareness runs deeper than surface-level chemistry. It creates emotional safety, genuine respect, and long-term desire. It doesn't fade when looks do, and it doesn't crumble under pressure. Because it's not built on illusion, it's built on character. And that kind of attraction doesn't just make a woman fall for you. It makes her stay. Your energy in silence speaks louder than any rehearsed line. In a world addicted to noise, constant validation, and verbal persuasion, the ability to remain calm and grounded in silence is a rare and powerful signal. Most men fear silence. They scramble to fill it with words, jokes, or compliments, hoping to bridge the discomfort with something clever. But what they fail to understand is that silence isn't empty, it's full of truth. And the way you hold yourself in that space tells a woman more about you than any pickup line ever could. When you're silent, there's nowhere to hide. Your body language, your eye contact, your breath, and your presence are completely exposed. And women, more than most men realize, are deeply tuned into these subtleties. They may not be able to articulate what they're sensing, but they feel it. If your silence is laced with insecurity, if you're fidgeting, avoiding her gaze, or nervously waiting for approval, she picks up on that energy. She might not say it, but the tension tells her everything. But when your silence is calm, confident, and steady, it speaks volumes. It tells her you are comfortable with yourself. You don't need to perform. You don't need to win her over. You are grounded, present, and sure of your value, even without saying a word. That energy creates a magnetic field. It invites her in, not through pressure or persuasion, but through stillness. And in that stillness, she can feel safe. She can feel seen. Because she's not being overwhelmed with noise, she's being held by presence. The confident man doesn't fear pauses in conversation. He doesn't panic if there's a moment of quiet. In fact, he welcomes it. He lets the silence breathe. He looks into her eyes without trying to read her mind or impress her. He listens not just with the intention to reply, but with the intention to understand. That kind of listening, that kind of silence, creates connection. It shows her that you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, you're genuinely engaged. And in that quiet presence, intimacy grows. There's a difference between silence that's empty and silence that's full. When you're at peace with yourself, your silence is full of power. It tells her you don't need anything from her to feel whole. You're not chasing approval. You're not performing a role. You're simply being. And that beingness, that deep internal stillness, creates an unmistakable pull. She may not be able to explain why, but she feels it. She feels your steadiness, your confidence, your self-assurance. And that, more than any smooth line or perfect story, draws her in. In truth, your energy in silence is your emotional signature. It tells the story of your inner world. And when that world is rooted in peace, purpose, and confidence, the silence becomes your most powerful form of communication. It doesn't just show her who you are, it lets her feel it. Subtle behaviors, like noticing others and acting with respect, signal high value in ways that loud displays of power or wealth never can. True high value is not shouted, it's quietly observed in the way a man moves through the world. It's seen in how he treats the people who can offer him nothing. It's heard in the tone of his voice when he speaks to a waiter, a janitor, or a stranger. It's felt in the energy he brings into every room, not just when he's trying to impress someone, but especially when he thinks no one is watching. A high-value man understands that respect is not a transaction, it's a reflection of character. He doesn't reserve his good manners for women he finds attractive or people he deems important. He extends it to everyone, because he's not performing, he's living in alignment with who he is. And that alignment, that quiet consistency, makes a deep impact. Women notice it. So do other men. They see how you pause to hold the door for someone behind you. They notice when you make eye contact and offer a genuine thank you or good morning. These moments may seem small, but they reveal a lot. They say, I see you. You matter. And in a world full of people desperate to be noticed, that simple recognition is rare and powerful. Noticing others doesn't mean seeking attention or approval. It means being present. A man of value pays attention to his surroundings. He sees when someone is uncomfortable and adjusts the energy of the room without making it about himself. He observes body language. He listens when people speak, not just waiting for his turn to respond, but actually hearing what is being said. This attentiveness creates trust. It shows that he's grounded, thoughtful, and emotionally intelligent, qualities that are far more attractive than arrogance or flash. Respect also shows up in boundaries. A high-value man knows how to respect himself while respecting others. He doesn't tolerate disrespect, and he doesn't need to raise his voice to make that clear. His calm, steady presence communicates his standards. He doesn't chase people who mistreat him, and he doesn't seek revenge when he's wronged. He simply moves with dignity. That kind of quiet strength creates curiosity and admiration, because it's rare to find someone who doesn't need to prove their power in every interaction. These subtle behaviors create a ripple effect. They don't demand recognition, but they leave an impression. When you treat others with respect, when you slow down enough to notice the details, to offer kindness without expectation, you elevate yourself without saying a word. People feel it. They trust it. And in a world of noise, manipulation, and ego, that kind of silent integrity stands out. So while many are trying to impress with noise, the man who moves with respect and awareness commands attention in a far deeper way. Not through spectacle, but through substance. Not through tricks, but through truth. Being grounded in your purpose without chasing validation makes you irresistibly magnetic. There's a power in a man who knows who he is and where he's going, and that power doesn't require approval, applause, or attention to feel real. Purpose is the internal compass that directs your decisions, your energy, and your discipline. When you're deeply rooted in that purpose, you move differently. You're not easily swayed by rejection, not thrown off course by external opinions, and not desperate for someone to see your worth. You've already seen it. You live it. Women, and people in general, sense when a man is chasing validation. It's in his tone, in his body language, in the subtle way he looks for a reaction after every word. That neediness, that hunger to be seen, creates pressure and discomfort. It signals that he's not yet whole on his own. And the paradox is this: the more you seek validation, the less attractive you become. Because you're signaling lack. You're showing that your center is unstable, that your self-worth is borrowed from the world's response instead of rooted in your mission. But when a man is grounded in purpose, he no longer needs constant reassurance. He's not trying to impress anyone. He's simply becoming the man he's meant to be. That quiet focus, that unshakable resolve, is deeply attractive. It radiates strength. It tells others that you don't need them to complete you, but you're open to sharing your journey with those who align with it. This kind of energy is magnetic because it's rare. It's refreshing. It feels safe, solid, and real. Being rooted in purpose means you've taken the time to understand what matters to you. You've clarified your vision, your values, and your standards. You don't abandon your direction because someone doesn't like it. You don't dilute your voice to fit in. You don't bend your character just to be accepted. And in doing so, you become a beacon. People notice. They may not even understand why they're drawn to you, but they feel the gravity of a man who walks with intention. This kind of magnetism isn't about dominating others, it's about being in full possession of yourself. It's about embodying a quiet authority that doesn't need to shout. A man on a mission is emotionally stable because his worth is not tied to outcomes or opinions. He isn't rattled by superficial challenges. He's too focused on building, growing, and serving something bigger than himself. That presence alone can shift a room. It can calm storms, inspire loyalty, and command respect without ever demanding it. When you stop chasing validation and start living from your purpose, you send a clear message: I don't need you to choose me, I've already chosen myself. That self-assurance, that inner fire, draws the right people in without effort. It's not performance. It's not manipulation. It's authenticity, and nothing is more attractive than a man who is fully aligned with who he's becoming. So remember this, attraction isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's not in the flashy words, fake confidence, or surface-level tactics. It's in the silence you hold with strength, the respect you show without expectation, the purpose you walk in daily, and the emotional maturity you demonstrate when things don't go your way. Women don't just see these things, they feel them. Your energy, your integrity, your awareness, they speak volumes before you ever say a word. Be the man who doesn't chase attention but commands respect. Be the one who stands firm in his values, leads with quiet confidence, and treats everyone, no matter their status, with dignity. That's the man women notice. That's the man they remember. And more importantly, that's the man worth becoming. Attraction is not a game to win, it's a mirror. It reflects who you are at your core. And the moment you choose to align with that truth, you don't just unlock the secrets to attraction, you become the secret.